Hey, what is up? Welcome to this episode of the Entrepreneur to Entrepreneur podcast. As always, I'm your host, Brian Lofermento, and I was thinking about it before hitting record today that I'm pretty sure this is accurate. I think that in over 1,200 episodes, today's episode features the longest running business that we've ever had on the air. And that is because we are joined not only by the incredible founder of that business, but there's so many interesting storylines in today's episode because we're joined by two incredible guests, because not only has the founder been at this for a long time, almost my entire lifetime. I won't be shy in throwing her under the bus there because I think there's so much experience that comes with all of that, but also her daughter is a partner in her business, and I'm so excited to hear. I think it's the first mother-daughter partnership that we've had on the air as well. So there's so many interesting ways that we're going to look into the real entrepreneurial journey of sustained success and ever-growing success, and of course, the nature of their business has so much inspiration for all of us as well. So let me introduce you to today's guests. Their names are Carrie and Sam Mayers. Together, they are the partners in Corporate Coaching Co., which you're going to hear that they refer to it as C3, so that we don't have to say Corporate Coaching Co. the entire time. Together, they design and deliver workshops and team trainings, one-on-one coaching, management and leadership consulting for teams and individuals to transform their potential into more cohesive, results-driven performance. They provide services across industries, and they work with C-suite executives as well as managers, supervisors, and their respective teams, which I think all of this is fun because no matter what industry you're in, you've heard so much of our content this year has focused on the fact that we all need to step into leadership roles. We all need to step into executive positions and roles inside of our businesses. So we're in for a treat today. I'm not going to say anything else. Let's dive straight into my interview with Carrie and Sam. Oh my gosh, Carrie, Sam, I am so excited that you're both here with us today. First things first, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I will share with listeners, you two are very well in sync off the air, and you've brought it here on the air. So I'm just going to throw you both under the bus, and I'm not going to dictate who's going first here, but both of you need to take us beyond the bio. I teased a little bit about C3, but you both and each have such interesting backgrounds that led you here. So take us beyond the bio. Who's Carrie? Who's Sam? You figure out who's going first.
Well, clearly to your point, I'm the oldest, so I guess I'll go first. I think you called me old about 3 times in that intro. So I have had C3 for about 32 years, and prior to that, I was in sales and sales management and training, and I was always really passionate about training. So when I left the corporate world, I decided that I was going to try to go out on my own and do training. And I had incredible clients. I'm so grateful to this day that I had like 3 clients who gave me a chance to do some training. And then from there, I've been fortunate enough to basically build my business off referrals. And it's just continued to grow over the last 32 years. And I am so grateful now to have Sam with me and have a partner. It's great. I think we're both really passionate about the same things and passionate about people and helping them be the best versions of themselves and teams being the best versions of themselves so that companies can thrive and teams can thrive. So that's kind of my story, but that's how I got into entrepreneurship. I always say I'm kind of an accidental entrepreneur. And certainly have been so fortunate to be able to build this business through the relationships that I've been lucky enough to be able to develop throughout my career. So, I have clients that I've had for almost all 32 years I've been in business, and I'm just, again, so grateful for those. So, Sam.
Oh, my turn. Okay. Brian, you're so funny because you talk about how in sync we are, and every team training I always start with, if you couldn't tell by our last names or our faces, we're mother-daughter, but we also talk at the same time quite a lot. So hopefully you'll get a little bit more of that throughout today's episode. But, Carrie always talks about how she was an accidental entrepreneur, and I kind of almost feel like a fake entrepreneur because I joined a successful business already, and we are growing and adjusting together, which is really exciting. But my journey here, so I graduated from the University of Arizona in 2021, and I went straight to PwC. So I was at Price Waterhouse for just under 4 years, like 3.5 years. And I loved it. I think the Big Four kind of get a lot of heat, but it was such an incredible experience for my age and who I was. And I was in rooms with C-suite executives, running meetings, like big roles. And it really helped me grow. I was 22, managing offshore teams in India, like incredible experience all around. And when I kind of took a look at my future, I didn't see it there. I knew the sacrifices that you had to make to succeed at a Big Four, and I just wasn't willing to make those. And I knew the longer that I stayed, the harder it was going to be to leave. So, we had always joked that we would work together. And as I really started thinking about my next steps and leaving, we had a serious conversation where we both cried, of course, and said, I think this makes sense for our next step, right? So I kind of jumped in both feet, and we've, figured it out. We've been doing this since the beginning of the year. So I'm going about 9 months with her. And at PwC, I was doing tech consulting, and now I'm doing management leadership consulting. So in the same, not necessarily area, but both consulting. And I've just moved kind of from tech to people. Although to be a good tech consultant, you also have to be a good people consultant. So I kind of took everything I loved about my last role and just brought it into this role. And I'm actually excited because some of our clients even need tech help. So I've been doing some of that stuff that, Carrie doesn't necessarily have the specialty to do. So broadening kind of what we offer, which has been really, really exciting.
And I think too, just to add on to that, Sam's kind of always naturally gravitated toward training and leadership development at the U of A. You started or participated in a leadership training program.
I was an instructor, and then I
executed contact. Yeah. I think you even used some of my content in those classes. And then also at PwC, you led the onboarding.
I did the onboarding for my practice. Yeah. So we built out that 6-week program, which was incredible, and some of the best stuff that I did. So it's so nice having a partner to toot your horn. You don't have to do it yourself.
No, honestly, you too. And hearing the way both of you talk about this, there's so many different threads that I want to dive into. But Carrie, I'll pick on the one that you already called out. Hey, I was just using old as a synonym for experience, but I heard it. No, honestly, I'm excited to start there because when I do look at the landscape of your work, and obviously it does span so much experience, not just across time, but what I really want to call out and what I think is so valuable for all of us listening to both of your wisdom here today, but also I would imagine your clients, is that you've worked across so many industries. Both of you bring such a depth and breadth of the experience to the table. And what I often find in entrepreneurs in those roles is that you see patterns. And so when we work in one industry, if I only work in the legal field, I know the legal field. I don't get to steal the best ideas from the dental field. I don't get to steal the best ideas from the marketing field. Talk to me about some of those patterns that you've seen that you're able to inject into the clients that you work with.
Yeah, I mean, we can both talk about this. It's so interesting because we always say, like, companies have the same 3 to 5 main issues, right? We see the same things across almost every single industry, and every conversation we have always starts with, well, our problem is so unique. Like, we have this going on, we have this, and I think we hopefully get to shed light on, this isn't a unique problem. It feels like maybe you're the only one that has it, or it's a big deal because it's you, but everyone's experiencing this. And I think the other really amazing thing about what we do is because we don't just work with C-suite and we don't just work with like boots on the ground people, we get to pull from those people's experiences and kind of give a different perspective, and both perspective. Like, we have the why of the leadership, but we also have the day-to-day hardships and, experiences of the boots on the ground people that we not only share within an organization, but across organizations.
Yeah, I totally, kind of knew you were going to say, but I completely agree. I think probably the biggest challenge and pattern we see across companies and industries is communication.
Or lack thereof.
Yeah. And that is pretty universal. And so I think, we do a lot of facilitation of conversation, we did it this morning. Like people have something to say, but they don't know how to say it, or they're afraid to say it. So really helping bring forward all the things that need to be said so the relationships can be healthy, the team can be healthy, and ultimately the company can thrive. I think that's something we're both really passionate about. And that is certainly, to your point, Brian, a thread that runs across industries. Process is another one. We don't have the right processes in place, or the processes are old, or, as people have changed, the processes have changed, but they haven't been updated formally. Like those kinds of things also, I think run across all of our clients. I guess the other thing I was just going to add really quickly is many clients also lack the structure of the context of a vision, mission, and values to get everybody on the same page, sort of going in the same direction, the same way. So that's another thing I think that we have helped many clients over the years, and certainly I would say recently a lot, helping them define that and then communicate it out.
Yeah, so well said. I'll share this with both of you as someone who interviews entrepreneurs for a living and who interacts with entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs every single day of my life. Obviously, I'm super biased. I believe that entrepreneurs are the innovators that spark change across industries. But as a result of all of that work, I read a lot of bios. I read a lot of LinkedIn pages. I go through a lot of websites. I see a lot of the messaging that people have in how they describe the work that they do. And I want to publicly call this out because it stood out to me so much about the way that you both articulate what it is that you do at C3. You don't say that, you guys host workshops and team trainings and you do one-on-one coaching. I love the verbs that you choose. We design and deliver. To me, it reveals how intentional you are in your role in this, because you're talking about big business problems. You're talking about helping teams with communication, helping them with systems and processes. These are not quick fixes, but you must be very intentional in the way you design it. Give us some of those insights there, because clearly there's a lot of care that goes into it.
You could make me cry with that comment, because we probably say a million times a day, talking is the thing that we do the most and we think the least about, right? So we talk a lot. Our main, I think, theme through everything is your intention has to be aligned with your impact. And so however you're intending to come across doesn't necessarily matter if the people aren't feeling it that way, right? So we say all of that a million times a day. Words matter. What we say matters. And so we are, we're not hosting, we're not lecturing, we're not, we say all those words, but then we back it up. And if you were to have a workshop with us, it's so interactive. Mm-hmm. People are talking, they're standing up, they're moving, to involve people as part of that process. One, I think increases the accountability that they feel, but also energizes them with the topics that we're talking about. Right. And you said too, they're big problems, and sometimes there are simple fixes, but that doesn't make them easy. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of the people also need to be intentional. And so we always aim to, strive for that and lead by example. That's typically how people tend, to be their best selves.
Yeah. And I think really listening, at first we might meet with C-suite or managers and hear what they think the problem is, and then do whatever workshop they think their team needs. And then through doing that workshop, we hear what the problems really are. And we're able to go back to leadership and say, hey, we know you thought it was this and it looks like this, but it's really this other thing over here that we need to address and fix in order for you to get to where you want to go. So I think part of the customization happens in upfront, intentionally listening to whomever we're talking to feels like the problem is and what they think we need to do, to help solve that problem, whether it's through a workshop or facilitating a team conversation or whatever it is. And then again, there's this discovery process that continues, because everybody in that's part of that has a different perspective. And so what they need to help solve that problem to get to the same place everybody wants to get to might be a little bit different.
Yeah, Carrie, it's so well said. And I feel like that's why magic is so incredible for all of us at different points of our lives. It's because there is nothing complex. Magic is not happening. Misdirection is happening. And inside of all of our businesses, misdirection is the thing that most confounds us, because you're right. We obsess about, I've heard so many entrepreneurs say, oh, my marketing isn't converting. It's not working. And I look at their offer and I'm just like, nobody wants what you're selling. It has nothing to do with your marketing. And so I love the way that you articulate that. Seeing the way that you both think and process in real time, listeners know how unscripted this show is, and I like to believe that's why so many people tune in all around the world. But hearing the way you both process this stuff in real time makes me really want to ask this question of both of you. Carrie, you've been an entrepreneur for a long time, for decades at this point. Sam, you come from, I'm going to throw Sam under the bus for a second. Sam, you come from what I would argue is the most corporate environment. The Big Four is super corporate. And Carrie, you've been spoiled in the fact that you got to define your systems and your structure as rigid as you wanted them to be, or as loose. Sam obviously came on board from a world where there's a lot of rigidity, a lot of structure. How did those two styles and backgrounds blend?
So I think it's so interesting that you call that out, because that probably sort of describes us just as humans. Like, she's definitely more. Before Sam joined me, so to your point, I've been in business decades. Thanks for pointing that out again. But I never had marketing material. I never had a website. And because my business is built on referrals, I would tell prospective clients that were referred to me, you can call all my clients. Any of my clients will talk to you anytime. I mean, I have amazing, incredible clients. And if you're looking for somebody that has a website, and I've only had business cards a few times over the 32 years, like, it just hasn't been necessary for me. And I guess that makes me super, super duper lucky, because my marketing strategy was just sort of building off what I built. And Sam is much more systematized and I think organized is probably fair too, and linear than I am. And so it was really funny when we decided in November that this was going to really happen. Before she started with me in January, we were incorporated. We had a website. We had business, we had like the most current, DOP business card, like all the things, because of who she is and what her background's been, has brought this whole other level of who we are as an organization, which has got us honestly to this point. Brian, you probably wouldn't even know about me if it wasn't for Sam, which is really funny.
I was going to say, I agree. And I think it is, who we are as people. It's funny. I'll just, a little personal anecdote. Like, whenever we go on vacations, like me and my boyfriend, we have like a Excel spreadsheet of what we're eating that day, what we're doing, where we're going, like we're going to get the most out of it. And that's kind of how I go about life. And my mom is like, we'll figure out when we get there. All good. No problem. And so when I joined, being careful too, to like create structure and systems, but not over systematize. Like it's not a fine line, because I think they're pretty far apart, but I did come in, we had the emails created and the LinkedIn and the website. And I think that gave me a little bit of purpose and honestly gave me probably some accountability and buy-in as like this partnership was founded, to be like, okay, I'm creating something at the get-go. But part of the decision I made from going from the most corporate into what this is was really an intentional choice. I think Carrie's that accidental entrepreneur, and I kind of went in eyes wide open, knowing that's what I wanted. So it's definitely different, but the systems that we've created for us work. And now we're going in and creating systems for other people, which is a really cool thing to be able to do. And I think the knowledge that I have from PwC and what that looked like and how they operated only makes me stronger in this role.
Yeah. Sam, it sounds to me like your mom was using Gmail email addresses before you came on board.
Yeah. No, Cox.
It was
sorry.
worse.
Cox.net.
Oh, no. Oh, gosh. Well, Carrie, I will say I'm much more like you. When people ask me, what are you doing this weekend? I'm just like, how would I know? The weekend's days away. Ask me on Saturday morning.
Right? And 5 more people could ask you to do 5 more fun things than you already committed to. You just don't know yet what's coming your way.
Exactly. I am with you there, which makes me even more excited for this next topic that I'm so eager for both of you to take us behind the scenes. I've been asking more and more in our conversations throughout 2025, and I'm certainly taking this into 2026 as well, talking to entrepreneurs about their executive time, because I've seen way too many entrepreneurs that, we're putting out fires by day, we're running with ideas. ChatGPT only enables us to do all the more things and entertain even more ideas. But I found that really successful entrepreneurs find time and find space to take that step back and say, well, hold on a second. What do I care about for the next 30, 60, 90 days? What does the next year look like? What does the next week look like? Even if it gets down to the micro level like that. I'm always slightly envious and excited when there's pairs that you guys can bounce ideas off of each other as well. What's that executive time look like, especially with the wrinkle that this is a mother-daughter partnership we're witnessing?
I think we're really fortunate. We don't have a lot of wrinkles.
Just me. Just as you pointed out,
been here
Brian,
for
I'm old. Yeah.
We work very differently and very well together. I think it's not opposite, it's complementary.
Yeah.
I would say. And we do this workshop about personality styles, and we kind of, Carrie created her own kind of, we do it with animals, which is really cool. And we have different personality styles. She's a tiger, I'm a bull. We can get into it if you want to. But that helps us, just having that understanding of we're different. We need different things when we come to a conversation, and we lean on each other's strengths a lot. Right. So, I am organized. I, run our spreadsheets and I track everything and I create all the documents. And, part of my world back in the day was just deck creation. So like I updated all of our PowerPoints and now we have a little bit of consistency. So having that, with, I think the things that Carrie's really good at, the relationship building, the calling, the different perspectives of being in the industry for so long. And it's really, really cool because right now, no matter what we talk about, and we have quite a few different workshop offerings, generational differences are consistently coming up. We now have Generation Alpha, which is they're like 18-ish. So depending on your industry, they're coming into the workforce. And so now we have 5 generations in the workforce, and it's just, they're all motivated by different things. They all have been defined by different life events and world events that have happened. So even having generationally what we both think, and then also, as a bull, I'm task oriented, and as a tiger, Carrie is people oriented. So having that balance and input really works, I think.
Yeah. And I would say too, I mean, Sam and I probably have, I'm going to guess, a pretty different relationship than a lot of mothers and daughters. And I think we've always been like, she wasn't a troubled teen. She didn't cause trouble. And I didn't create a situation where that was probably going to happen either, I think. And so we've always had this, she was a competitive gymnast growing up. We did a lot of traveling together. So we've always just spent a lot of time together. Mm-hmm. And I think that has served to help us create this situation I think is not only comfortable for us, but the feedback that we've gotten from clients when we're working together has been really positive, because I think they're really enjoying that dynamic as well. So I wish I could give you some spicy wrinkles, Brian, but I don't think we really have a lot.
All right. Well, then I'm going to switch gears into the most fun wrinkles to have in the workplace. And that is, of course, wrinkles from laughing, wrinkles from having fun. And Sam, you kind of teased at it a little bit earlier in our conversation about the fact that to both of you, when you design these workshops and trainings, it's important that it's engaging. It's not just the two of you in front of a whiteboard presenting material, because nobody wants to do that anymore. And I know that fun is personally something that's important to both of you in the work that you do with your clients, which it's really fun for me. Obviously, I throw a healthy amount of shade at the corporate world as a lifelong entrepreneur, but it's fun for me to think about fun being injected by the two of you from the umbrella of Corporate Coaching Co. Talk to me about fun and how that actually plays into the way you interact with your clients.
Gosh, that's such an interesting question, because I think it's so much about, and I would say so much of what we do is intentional. I don't know that the fun is really intentional as much as just
a byproduct.
It's just who we are and how we are, I think, with people. And I think, to Sam's point, even though, Sam's a bull tiger and I'm a tiger bull. So again, it just kind of fits together. But I think, we like to laugh and have a good time. And I think one of the best things that happens for us is that when we talk to a manager or a leader who says, "Oh, you're going to work with that team, I don't think they're going to participate." And this has happened for me several times, many times throughout my career. And, certainly a lot since Sam and I have been together. And it just never happens like that. Like, we get with a group of people and for whatever reason, it just works and they participate and they're engaged. And even the most introverted people wind up coming into the conversation and being part of what's going on. And I think, I'm really proud of that for both of us, that we're able to do that with people and that it is fun. And I think that's one of the things also that hopefully makes it different to work with us.
Yeah. And I was going to say, we never come out of a workshop, actually any meeting, without having like real belly laughs with everybody. Like, it's fun. And I think one of the great things about just our little duo and this company, as opposed to like a big corporation, are we don't necessarily have strict things that we have to say. Like, every workshop has the same content, but it's a little different. We tell a lot of personal stories, a lot of funny stories. We talk about our relationship and like stories about me growing up and her growing up. And, so I think we try to do our best to bring the fun and create an open space. And we find that people do that in return.
Yeah, they come to it.
Yeah, they meet us where we are for sure. But we never leave a room without a big laugh, for sure.
Yeah, I want to call this out because you both alluded to it, but I just want to spell it out explicitly for our listeners, is that, Carrie, you say that maybe it's not intentional. Sam, you call it a natural byproduct. But what I'm really hearing and seeing is the fact that it is the way that both of you are, and you let yourselves be part of that process. You don't squash that at any step. And I think back to when I was 22 and I started my marketing agency in the Boston area. I was presenting to, I think it was a $15 million a year revenue company, which was the biggest client that I would have had at the time. And it was the board of directors and the C-suite executives were there. And it was, I think it was only like a $30,000 project that we were proposing to them. But 22-year-old me started the meeting by saying, "Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Brian. This is Kevin." And that's how I started it. And I remember the CFO came up to me afterwards and he said, "Kid, did you start the presentation by saying what's up?" And I was like, I probably did, because like that's how I talk. And yeah, fun fact, most listeners may not know this, is that that's why every single episode of this show, 1,200 plus episodes, starts with "What's up, everybody?"
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I think it's something that's absolutely worth calling out, is the fact that both of you have that self-awareness and you let it shine. And I think that that's such a valuable lesson. Gosh, I have been so excited to have you both on the air, and I'm really excited to see how you each answer this last question, because time flies by. But I always ask it at the end of every episode: what's that piece of advice that you want to leave listeners with? Knowing that we're being listened to by both entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs, some of them who are accidental, some of them who don't feel like an entrepreneur, some of them who mirror your stories or my stories or none of our stories, but we're all in this together. As entrepreneurs yourselves, what's that one thing that you want to leave them with? Good luck to whoever goes second. It's always hard to go second in this question.
I'm going first. I'm older. I'm just going to tell, there's probably a lot of things that I could say. I'm just going to say the first thing that came to my mind when you asked that question is, don't take yourself too seriously, and don't take what you do too seriously. Like there's serious business happening, but I think when we lose perspective and it all feels like it's on fire, we don't do our best work. So I think don't take yourself too seriously, and don't take what you do too seriously.
I think, from my perspective, being a little bit younger and making this leap, I will say your next step doesn't have to be your perfect step. It also doesn't have to be your final step. Like, action is better than any inaction. And if you're feeling on the fence, or you're wanting to make a change, or you're not sure about next step, or things feel a little uncertain, like, bet on yourself. It'll, and again, it's just your next step. It's not your last step. So I think that, is important. And then the other thing I'll say is, because we talk a lot about accountability, like, I give everyone a daily reminder that you are completely in charge of how you show up and do everything you do today and every day. And whatever that looks like to you at work, at home, in every conversation, like, just own that, and your internal sense of ownership, like, let that drive you.
Yeah. Well said.
Boom. Yes, very well said. I love all of that advice for our listeners. I'm so grateful for both of you showing up the way that you do and sharing so generously with our worldwide audience. And I'm also excited that now that you have a website, we've got a clear place to send people to. So if listeners want to go deeper into all the amazing things that you're both doing inside of C3, I'll tell you from the outside looking in, I love your messaging. I love the way that both of you show up, your personalities show up. It's cool to see your team spelled out there, how much you both play into the things that you guys deliver to your clients. So with all of that said, that's just my teaser a little bit, but drop those links on us. Where should listeners go from here?
So our website is Corp Coaching Co, CORP, coachingco.com. There is, just a little chat, or you can schedule a session with us. We love to talk about anything. Please reach out. We're more than happy to. We also have a LinkedIn page, Corporate Coaching Co, and you can find us there as well.
Follow
Sam
us.
Mayers and Carrie Mayers. Yeah, definitely interact. Again, it's just the two of us. Like, we love a conversation. So please reach out. We'd love
With
to talk.
somebody other than each of us, but
Yeah.
together. Please call us, email us.
I love it. Listeners, you've heard, not only do they love a conversation, but it will be a fun conversation. That is absolutely guaranteed. So listeners, you already know the drill. We're dropping those links down below in the show notes, no matter where it is that you're tuning into today's episode. So if you're on the run, if you're driving, have no fear. You can always refer back. You can click right on through to corpcoachingco.com, but also Carrie and Sam's personal LinkedIns. So if you want to reach out to them individually to continue the conversation, do not be shy. Most people are, but your life doesn't change if you continue to be shy. Actually reach out. So Carrie, Sam, on behalf of myself and all the listeners worldwide, thanks so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
This is great. Thank you.